this is just sort of fascinating. Like, I don't know how many, was it 6 months ago, 9 months ago, people like Charlie Kirk and maybe they were just doing this to stoke this on the left, but they were talking about constantly, it was identity politics. All identity politics, virtue signaling, et cetera, et cetera. And I am always fascinated by the enormous lack of shame that must be associated with them being able to turn on a dime from completely criticizing a modality or a thing and then just embracing it beyond even what they had criticized. I mean, you want to talk about identity politics. What about like going through your condiments to see if they're woke? I'm not joking.
Show is brought to you by Blackout Coffee. It is powered by Blackout Coffee. Family owned, 100% committed to conservative values from sourcing the beans to the roasting process. Customer support.
What does that mean?
Charlie. This is interesting because
you have experience.
Well, I find this interesting because, we justcoffee.coop has advertised on this program since prior to back when I was doing Air America when Marin and I were doing Break Room Live. And they're a co-op. And I guess, from an ideological standpoint, I'm supportive of co-ops as a way of organizing economically.
Yes.
And our economy, and their values also, they have, I think, what you call sort of like leftist values in the sense that they make a real effort, even when they're, and they started by, supporting, the Zapatistas, and we're in Chiapas, and we're helping farmers down there. Mm-hmm. And even if they have a bad year, they'll still buy from them and figure out a way of making it work with their coffee, because their part of their mission is to support people, the farmers. And when the guy says, and so I say, they're movement sponsor as well. I have a closer, ideological and emotional relationship with them. What is a conservative value when you are making anything in business? It is exploit the hell out of your labor if you can.
Yep.
Do whatever you can to squeeze as much money out of your workers as possible. And, if you can pull one over on your customers, you do it just because that's the free market. The asymmetry in information is just part of doing business.
I can't speak to Blackout Coffee's particular labor practices. I'd imagine, though, what would be in keeping with Charlie Kirk's values is, exploitation of labor, maybe importing it from poorer countries where you can cut corners on regulations, having them work 16-hour shifts in the hot sun.
Dan
but
Bongino.
Wait, so there's Black Rifle and Blackout Coffee?
I don't know, but this is Bongino's. These are the values that they ascribe. Just as a
at work, cross that out. On duty. That is a very interesting.
Why are they anti-work?
Yeah, we're not for workers. We're for people who are on duty.
Yeah, protect your coffee with a gun. That shirt might be a little confusing for people.
All right, so real conservative values, which is exactly what you want if you own the place, not so much if you're working there.
Yeah.
It's a non-labor union then.
Yeah, support bosses by Blackout Coffee.
But watch where he goes with this. Again, anti-identity politics.
Show is brought to you by Blackout Coffee. It is powered by Blackout Coffee. Family owned, 100% committed to conservative values from sourcing the beans to the roasting process. Customer support, go to blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie. That is blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie. Super happy to partner with them. 100% endorsement. Check it out for all your coffee needs. We are now having to, I'm guilty of this. I'm going through my kitchen, I'm going to my refrigerator, and I'm starting to ask the question, well, is this ketchup bottle woke? Is this mustard? Literally, we're at the place now where we have to go through, is the company that makes this? And so, blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie. I'm sure many of you are coffee drinkers because you're high energy.
You're huge freaks like me.
I mean, at least this form of like obsessing over brands and their wokeness is it's a unique form of activism. It makes sense that conservatives like choose to only exercise their activism within the confines of consumerism and the free market. That is in keeping with their values.
Totally.
As long as they keep it, like, I don't care really if Target loses money, or if the Heinz loses money. That's fine with me. The one thing I don't love is that these boycotts over very like just innocuous pride corporate displays, it's not the boycotts in and of themselves that bother me, it's what it represents, which is that we're in the midst of a cultural backlash moment where conservatives, like, apparently Target sales did go down, apparently Bud Light sales did go down.
Yes,
Their
I think
attempt
Modelo is now like the #1 beer in the country.
Modelo's pretty good.
Because Bud Light dipped down, which is
but I
ironic.
think ironic, and also Anheuser-Busch, the company that owns Bud Light, also owns a lot of the competitors that
it owns Modelo.
Oh, it owns Modelo?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, so they win regardless. But like that's what's concerning to me, is that this represents not, I don't care about the boycotts, but it represents a moment of like increased hostility, because we thought that we'd gotten to the point where even stupid, like, Boeing was putting pride flags on their ads or whatever.
CIA.
Yeah, the CIA is trying to, but it's more of like, we're in a very scary time for LGBTQ people.
Without a doubt. They start with trans people because they are the most marginalized, and they will not end there.
And that's what Aaron Reed mentioned on the show last week. That quote that we talked about a bunch on the show. Emma mentioned this. We talked about it a few times. That guy Terry Schilling over at the American Principles Project basically was like, "Yeah, we started with the kids thing just because that was a good peg. People get really concerned when they hear kids, and then we wanted to kind of move to adults from there, just because like we just wanted to get the foot in the door. It's always it's like, you come for my beer. What's next? Like it's always a gateway to something further. It's the same thing with school. It's like
same thing with abortion.
Soft targets. We need to arm more kids, but also maybe you could just homeschool your kids and we could just defund all public schools instead.
States' rights for abortion. Just kidding. Actually, Lindsey Graham immediately introducing a federal ban.
Federalize it. Yeah, exactly.
Apple cideritis. I'm sorry. Is the conservatives' coffee company called Blacks Out? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds it's a little close, but Blackout. So I'm looking at some of their brands, including Pitch Black.
It's weird.
Sounds like, critical race theory.
Calling from a 757 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?